You know the drill. You've seen it, you've heard it. Practice social distancing, keep your hands clean, and wear a mask. You know it all by heart, but if you're not practicing it, it's not doing any good. And we talked to one shipbuilder who has some words of warning. If Ashley Cowan looks familiar to you, it's because you've seen her taking pictures across the shipyard. As a company photographer working in communications the past 4 years, Ashley has captured shipbuilders at work, documented history at Newport News Shipbuilding special events, and caught those important moments and milestones to share with the world. But Ashley recently caught something else.
It's a very scary feeling when you really think about it.
Coronavirus, and it was quite a wake-up call.
Yeah, so I was actually at my mom and dad's house when we found out that they were possibly exposed. And actually my brother and my sister-in-law are living with them right now. So really, they were actually the ones who were exposed, who then exposed my parents as well, because they're all living together. So obviously the trickle effect kind of happened, and so we all had to get tested. But of course, at that time, it was already too late. We had been hanging out all week long. So anyway, so they called me and said, hey, we've all tested positive. We got a group message going. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I said, well, let me go get tested. So I did the 15-minute rapid test. So when I went there, I was already there. And basically, they swab your nose, both holes, and then they take it, test it, whatever. And so you're just waiting in the room. Immediately when she came back, I just knew that I was positive because I could just see the look on her face. And she said, yep, you're positive. And I said, oh my gosh.
Ashley recently became a first-time mother, so staying safe is now more important than ever. But she admits that she and her parents and family may have let their guard down a bit by getting together.
You think to yourself, I can at least be around my family because I trust them. I know that they're wearing masks. I know that they're washing their hands constantly and sanitizing if they have to go to the store. But at the same time, it's almost like you really can't trust your family, sadly, and not that you don't trust them, but, it's just, you never know who has it. People are asymptomatic. And that's just kind of the problem with this virus is we don't know so much that you can't let your guard down and you can't say, well, I'm just going to go visit this one friend or this one person's going to come over because, you're just letting yourself be at risk that much more.
For Ashley, the effects of COVID-19 were not severe. A loss of taste and smell, and cold-like symptoms that are still lingering weeks later. But for her mother, it's a different story.
We had to take Mom off in an ambulance to the hospital because she couldn't catch her breath. And just hearing that news was honestly hard. I'm gonna cry. It was honestly heartbreaking because I just thought, when was the last time I even saw her, And just listening to my dad, talk about it was hard because he was standing on the steps, watching her go. And he thought to himself, this could be the last time I see her. And so anyways, hearing that was just heartbreaking. She had COVID, but on top of that, she also had double pneumonia. And so they're seeing a lot of patients who are coming in with a series of things going on, not just COVID, but because of I guess a weakened immune system, they also have other stuff going on. Luckily, everything was fine. She got everything she needed. They gave her tons of different medicines and whatnot, lots of different inhalers. One of the things she told me was they gave her some kind of, I don't know if it was a medication or a shot, I'm not exactly sure, but something for blood clots because a lot of COVID patients are having blood clots now. So just random stuff like that, they're learning every day about this virus.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem is just
us every day, we got to be on our toes every minute, and you can't let your guard down and think to yourself, it's never going to happen to me, because that's obviously what we all thought. This is never going to happen to us.
And Ashley's story isn't uncommon. Cases across the country, here in Virginia, and at the shipyard continue to spike as the virus spreads. And that's why Shipyard Medical Director Dr. Steve Apostoles continues to spread the message.
So you can still get COVID. It can still be very bad. We really want people, around Thanksgiving to wear your masks. You can still social distance. Obviously, you can't wear your mask while you're eating, but you can social distance. We encourage people to do that. Have small gatherings. Don't go to big events, and try to protect yourself, because you're your greatest asset.
But you've heard it before, right? And COVID fatigue sets in, and the message and the advice just become static. We know how to stay safe, but Dr. Apostoles says knowing isn't enough.
Well, we could have a huge spike when we come back from shutdown, because most of our cases are not acquired at the shipyard. They're acquired out in the community or at people's homes. So you're putting yourself and your family at risk, and we're mission critical to getting these warships and submarines out to the fleet, and it's been really difficult since March, and so anything that we can do for our sailors to get them the latest and greatest warships, that's what we need to concentrate on. And the only way we can do that is to be considerate of each other and be vigilant while we're on our shutdown.
And Ashley knows that all too well. Having COVID-19 was a reality check, and she hopes others will avoid it by sharing her story.
You got to think to yourself, you're not the only one here on this planet. You got to care for others at the same time. And where that is hard, it's something we all have to work together to do.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for sharing your story. We're glad that you are doing better and glad to hear that your family and your baby are all well. Make sure you stay safe by keeping up with the very latest information on the Newport News Shipbuilding 411 COVID-19 website. For Focus NNS, I'm Brian Moore.